Good morning everybody and welcome to today's Planning Committee meeting. I am Councillor Caroline Karimi Govanlu and I will be chairing the Planning Committee meeting today. On the top table are Tim Barker, Ben Burgess, myself, Eleanor Laming and Lucy from Democratic Services. We are not expecting a fire drill today, but if the alarm does sound, the fire exits are clearly signed in green. This meeting is being live streamed. Members of the public are welcome to film proceedings as long as they are not disruptive to the conduct of the meeting. If anyone wishes to film or record this meeting, please identify yourselves now. Thank you. Please can you ensure all your mobile phones and electronic devices are turned to silent? I'm looking at you, Ken. Councillors, please do not use your mobile phone whilst the committee is in session. We will have comfort breaks at various times if needed throughout the meeting. If you must use your mobile, then please leave the room. However, you will appreciate that this could result in you not being able to vote on the matter under discussion at the time you leave the room. The order of business is as set out on the agenda. Members of the public can only speak if prior arrangements have been made in accordance with the Council's scheme of public speaking. The time allocated is a maximum of 5 minutes per speaker, with a maximum of 15 minutes per category. Only people who have registered to speak will be able to address the committee. The order will be as follows. The planning officer will present the application. Public speakers will then be asked to present their case, followed by questions from members of the committee, to clarify something the speaker has said and not to invite the speaker to put further points across. The order of public speaking is Parish Town Council first, followed by objectors and finally supporters. Council members who are not members of this committee will then be invited to speak for the allocated time of a maximum of 5 minutes per speaker. This will be followed by questions from members of the committee. Again, these questions will only be to clarify something the speaker has said and not to invite the speaker to put further points across. The committee will then discuss and determine the application. Finally, there is no provision for members of the public to circulate documents, photographs, etc. at the meeting. Are there any questions before I open this meeting? No, thank you. Do we have any declarations of interest? Nigel?
Yeah, 4D and 4E are both in my ward,
No.
I have no contact with any.
Okay. Paul?
I've received a number of emails from people objecting to the first item. So I'm just
I think we all have, yeah.
So I haven't responded, but that's, just to declare that.
Regarding the application 3, I'm a member for the Browston East Ward, and I was there in Town Council when the application was considered. I haven't made any comment or nor involved in the regarding this process.
Yes, thank you. I've got an interest in item 4B on the agenda, which is application 20243141. I'm the district councillor for Brundall, which is the local ward, and I've made comments on the application. I will therefore leave the room when it is discussed and determined.
Thank you, Carol. Yes, on the same application, I've had representations from residents in Thornton and Andrew who have concerns regarding that as well.
Thank you. Lucy, if you have any apologies, please.
Yes, Chair, we have apologies from Councillor Tipple and Councillor Copplestone.
Thank you. And we all read the minutes of the last meeting? Are we all happy with those? Yeah. Thank you. They're agreed. We go on to applications. The first application is the Broadland Business Park, Old Chapel Way. And we have Tim, who's going to present for that.
Okay, thank you. So this relates to a site which will probably be familiar to you. So it's immediately adjoining this office. There's offices there. And that's the land between here and the Yarmouth Road and the Poswick interchange, plus an additional plot of land here adjacent to the Fieldfare pub and Costa drive-through. We can see the two sites here. So there's the Yarmouth Road along the southern boundary of the two plots, and then Broadland Way going up the eastern boundary. Their offices there. Both are undeveloped plots which have never come forward since the business park was first laid out in the 1990s. We can also see the nearest residential properties down here on Boundary Lane to the south of that western plot. So this sets out what is proposed. The site is to be developed as a Costco warehouse here and petrol filling station here. Costco is a warehouse club use, not unlike the Macro, which has been operating on Broadland Business Park for many years. It is open only to trade and individual members from qualifying professions, and therefore is not a general retail use, and this has been confirmed through appeal decisions relating to other Costco stores elsewhere in the country. The warehouse building proposed is over 13,000 square metres of floor space, with over 600 parking spaces proposed based over 2 levels. The main access proposed is to be off the existing roundabout. It's an existing arm which has never been brought into use. And then a secondary access is also proposed from Broadland Way. This would be for deliveries only going in, and then emergency but also provide an emergency exit as well. And then finally, the petrol filling station will be accessed off Old Chapel Way, accessed off the road which serves the Fieldfare pub and Costa, and then from back onto Old Chapel Way there. Also of note is the proposal to provide a footway and cycle link through the site along the northern boundary here. You can see that would there connect, as well as providing access to the site, would connect existing facilities for pedestrians and cyclists along Yarmouth Road and within the business park here to existing facilities up here on Broadland Way. And this would have the benefit of providing connectivity to Broadland Gate for pedestrians and cyclists, and also to the new residential development being constructed to the north of Broadland Gate. There's also a pedestrian link provided to here. That path is actually existing here, which comes into the offices here, as well as providing access to other commercial premises along Peachman Way. I'll take you through some photos now. So this is the roundabout in the southeast corner as part of the Poswick interchange. So approaching from Poswick, you can see the council offices here, and the other offices buildings, Marsh McLennan building there, and then the other offices along Peachman Way, the warehouse, the site where the warehouse is proposed here. And we can now see this is actually stood on the boundary of the site. So there's the council offices again, and you can see the level differences. That's the boundary of Broadland Way there. And then again, so Yarmouth Road's on the left here. There's the Marsh McLennan offices. That's the Brewers Fair and Premier Inn there. And then offices more in the distance on the lakeside area of the Broadland Business Park. This is looking down Broadland Way from the roundabout. So you've got the warehouse site on the left there, and you see again the office buildings on Peachman Way there. And the new access would be proposed along here for the deliveries and the emergency exit. And then that pedestrian cycle link would then go along, and then you can't quite see it, but you're probably familiar. There's a traffic light controlled crossing towards the end of Broadland Way, just before you get to the roundabout, which provides access into Broadland Gate. So this is looking along Yarmouth Road from the roundabout. See, there's obviously some existing planting, which was established at the time of the construction of the original business park. And then looking towards, you can see the Premier Inn there, and the offices there behind the warehouse site. And then this is the roundabout with the, so that's the arm which was constructed but never used, and that's what they proposed to use as the main access into the warehouse site. And as we start to look towards the petrol filling station site, so this is looking from that roundabout, the Old Chapel Way roundabout, down Yarmouth Road into Thorpe, and the petrol filling station is proposed to be behind this line of trees, which would be proposed to be strengthened as part of the landscaping scheme. Costa Coffee, just see the car park there is on the right. And then looking back from Old Chapel Way to the northern boundary of the petrol filling station site, across, you can just sort of see Yarmouth Road. There's a car there going along Yarmouth Road, and you can see the trees there. The residential properties, those nearest residential properties, are all behind this this belt of trees. That property there, that's a commercial building there. And then finally, again, looking just across that petrol filling station site from the Old Chapel Way side of it, as you can see here, the Fieldfare pub and the that commercial premises there, the residential properties then are over here. This shows you the elevations of the warehouse building. Building is functional design, as you expect for a building of this nature. And then you can see the petrol filling stations site, again, what you would expect really, a very simple form of development with a simple canopy. The filling station is proposed to be automated only, so there's no kiosk or shop building in it at all. It's just, you know, you go and pay with your card, and that's it. And this visualisation shows you as to how it all fit in. So, yeah, just by the context again, there's the council offices with the Marshall Killen building and the offices building there, the Premier Inn and Brewers Fair there, Field Fair pub there, Costa there, the other office buildings around the lake there, and the Broadland Business Park, and then Meridian Way to the other side of Yarmouth Road, and the residential properties down here. And there you can see the filling station proposed, and then the warehouse site with the decked parking on this bit here. Key to mitigating the impact of this scheme is the landscaping proposed on the boundary of the Yarmouth Road, which comprises of filling in the sort of the gaps, including with the gap onto the roundabout where you can see those views early in the photos. So quite extensive planting on that boundary. The building is also set at a lower level from the surrounding public highway network, from particularly this element here and the roundabout there. The proposal has been considered by both our senior heritage and design officer and landscape architect, and both have advised that with the landscaping secured by condition, the visual impact of the proposal would be acceptable. Whilst it is noted that there have been some concerns about the principle of the use, with some comments suggesting that this use is a retail use, which they state is not appropriate for the site, but notwithstanding whether a general retail use would be appropriate. As noted earlier, this has been found to be a sui generis use and not a general retail use, and we would seek to ensure any permission is restricted as such. The business park does contain a variety of employment uses, including a similar use in the macro site, and therefore it is not considered that a Costco warehouse would be incompatible with a range of commercial uses on the business park. Consideration should also be given to the sequential assessment. There's identified there's no sequentially preferable site that meets the needs of Costco in the wider Norwich area, and also the findings of the retail impact assessment. The proposal, which has also been noted, the proposal will also bring significant benefits in terms of employment as well as the services it offers. As such, the principle of the use is considered acceptable. Another concern that has been noted is the impact on the highway network. Particularly in regards to this roundabout here. The application has been accompanied by an assessment of the ability of the local highway network to accommodate the traffic generated, and this has concluded that the junctions do have the capacity to accommodate this. This has been accepted by both the County Council as the highway authority for the local road network and national highways as well in respect of the impact on the A47. In light of this, there's not considered that we would have any reason to refuse the application in regard to impact on the highway network. It is noted that some concern from those residential properties to the south of Yarmouth Road around potential disturbance from the petrol filling station. However, it is considered with the appropriate restrictions as detailed in your report on the opening hours, and given that there's no shopping unit, it's unlikely to result in disturbance from these properties when considering the separation provided by the landscaping on Yarmouth Road. You also note that obviously in terms of, you have got the Field Fair pub and Costa Coffee as well, which both open, I believe, till 11 o'clock, again in that area. Now, as you'll note from the report, there has been extensive negotiations over drainage. Further information has been submitted to address the remaining issues in the latest comments from the lead local flood authority. These are relatively detailed issues which have now been satisfied or considered able to be satisfied without any significant further amendments to the layout. As such, it is considered that, subject to the final comments of the lead local flood authority, the development can be accommodated on this site without having an unacceptable impact in regard to flood risk or on the highway network or in regard to ecology. Therefore, the application is considered to be acceptable and is recommended for approval.
Thank you, Tim. Does the committee have any points they wish to be clarified? Peter.
Good morning. Yes, with regards to the tyre depot that's going to be on site at the Costco, has that been separated from the other part of the warehouse, and will there be separate parking for that, please?
So that is in this area here. So you would go in, and that's the area of the site available for that. So it is kind of, I mean, you would use the same access in and things, but then that area is then site separated off.
Thank you, Chair. Do we know numbers of cars or numbers of members that Costco will be expecting as its capacity for that area, just to give us an idea of traffic?
Don't have figures of the agent may be able to, an applicant are here, so they may be able to help you a bit more about their expected customer base on that, but obviously they provide the parking level which is considered acceptable for the Highway Authority.
I just got one final question, just about the foul water drainage. Can you just explain your thinking around, we know that, oh God, my brain's gone. The local lake, Whitlingham, have some concerns and they need to upgrade the facilities there. I note in the report that you're confident they're going to do that. Can you just give me a little explanation of what your logic is for just going ahead despite them not actually doing the work yet?
I'll pick up on that, that's right. I mean, it's all there in the report on pages 44 and 45, so 5.43 to 5.49 is where we've set it out. But just to give a brief summary, Anglian Water have requested a condition goes on the development that limits the occupation of the development until they've done their upgrade works to Whitlingham. Now, we've got no certainty from them as to when they're actually going to do those upgrade works. We know it's within their AMP8 programme, which means that they would be doing it between sometime now and sometime in 2030. That's a long time for us to not grant permissions or grant permissions with a condition that requires no occupation. Because you can imagine if we approve this today with that condition on, two things. One, I doubt very much Costco are going to go and build something they can't necessarily occupy because they're waiting for Anglian Water to do some works. Or two, they might just not do the scheme at all. So from our perspective, we don't also have enough information from Anglian Water at the moment to tell us what the actual environmental impact of an increase in flows to Whitlingham would be. In our view, particularly for a commercial scheme like this, the flows would be so negligible that it would have almost zero environmental impact. We can't guarantee that, so there is a risk in there in terms of us not putting a condition on. But as we've said in the report, we're really confident in our view that condition that is being proposed wouldn't be a reasonable condition to put on at the moment. And I'm going to say something that sounds maybe a bit extreme. There is a risk. There is a risk, as I've said. The bigger risk is for us not looking to approve schemes or approving schemes that have got this condition on, because that would have a dramatic impact on the economic future of Norfolk for a period of time. And I say Norfolk because Whitlingham covers the whole of the Greater Norwich area in terms of the whole of the city, lots of Broadland, lots of South Norfolk. So from our perspective, we're comfortable with not proposing the condition be put on it. And as I said, there's better detail in there, but that's a summary.
Sorry, Ray, is about the water flooding, but I think you've answered it. But as we mentioned earlier, on the 31 conditions, presumably, as I think you've answered the question just raised, because there was concern about flooding in the petrol station area, wasn't there?
That's a slightly separate matter, but from our perspective,
it's in there.
Well, we have proposed, if you'll see in the recommendation, that we're still awaiting the final comments from the lead local flood authority. So we have proposed that we await the details from them, but the principle of it is acceptable for us.
Thank you, Chairman. That answers my question.
Yeah, just a quick one. It's been noted that there's an intermediate gas main adjacent to the petrol filling station. Do you know the location of that, and have there been sufficient safeguards put in for it, please?
Yeah, well, we have consulted with. I haven't got it exactly plotted on here, but we have had consulted with the relevant bodies and about that, and no objection has been raised to that. So they're happy it's outside the necessary safeguarding area.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to raise the point of the petrol filling station. The the hedgerow and the trees that shield it from Yarmouth Road, are they going to be retained?
They are, and there would be additional planting as well. So you can see the trees there, the ones which you saw in the photo, but there's additional planting proposed all around there. So yes, they will be retained, yeah.
Okay, if you're okay, thank you, Tim, for that presentation. I'm going to call David Driscoll, please. If you'd like to come to the front here, please. Mr. Driscoll, you have to press the right-hand button to start, and then you will have 5 minutes.
Chair, councillors, everyone. You have a proposal before you for a very large white shed and a filling station. Regrettably, your officer's written description of the location as having only business uses adjoining is incorrect. I'm glad he corrected that in his words this morning. Boundary Lane is very residential and directly opposite the filling station. This proposal is 2 sites, not 1, as the red line includes public highway. Whilst in planning terms this is not prohibited, it really begs the question, how much highway is too much? When would non-adjoining sites be deemed not to be 1 site? As drawn, the fact of it being 2 sites is implicit in that the red line does not include Yarmouth Road roundabout, which is essential for the traffic circulation between the sites to work. In reality, this is trying to slip through 2 separate decisions under 1 application, and any decision approving or refusing should reflect that. Broadland Business Park, unlike Broadland Gate, was always intended as a business park, i.e. non-retail. Costco argue they are not retail, and whilst it is true to say you would have a membership card to shop here, the criteria for membership is so wide that I wager there's not a person in this room that wouldn't qualify. They've also stated that a filling station is essential for their operations, so essential that approximately 1/3 of their UK sites don't have a filling station. Those that do are all sited within the main site's car park, none is an island site, such as proposed here. As you'll have gathered, I'm not a fan of a 20-metre tall white box, twice the size of Sainsbury's, being located on Norwich Eastern Gateway. Such a waste of a location. I understand the potential economic benefit of 180 jobs, whether they be full or part-time, and as such, you may feel obliged to approve the big white box. But I urge you to refuse the filling station. It is perfectly possible so to do. Your officer and a plan consultant has confirmed as much to me. The filling station supports just 1 job and requires all customers visiting both the store and the filling station to circulate Yarmouth Road twice, making it part of the car park circulation. Cheap loss leader type fuel prices will attract drivers to use this route into Norwich more frequently, overburdening a road that already sees peak hour issues. Note that the traffic survey was carried out on a work from home Friday and a Saturday. All their HGV and tanker deliveries will have to use this roundabout, and it appears share the main car park access onto the roundabout. They propose a filling station that has twice the number of pumps as Sainsbury's Dussendale. They've also requested hours of operation from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m, well outside the store's opening hours, so customers will also detour to the site outside of store hours. The 2 sites are at different levels, with the proposed filling station on the lowest part of the whole business park. The water table is barely 1 metre below the surface here, so does it sound sensible to sink not only several large fuel tanks into the ground, but also a large drainage attenuation tank? Archimedes' principle suggests pushing more down means something has to come up. Flooding in Boundary Lane and Yarmouth Road has been a problem in the past, and I fear it will be again. Indeed, the local flood authorities and Anglian Water continue to struggle with this. For this application throughout. Who will the residents of Boundary Lane turn to when our road floods? It won't be Costco's responsibility then, they're doing, but not their liability. Add to the above the light pollution from the site and potentially fuel vapour smells, and that not only affects local residents, but the wildlife in the currently very attractive lake adjoining the cafe. Goodbye to herons, coots, mallards, etc. And of course, all filling stations leak. Not today perhaps, but in time, In my professional life, I have redeveloped several fuel sites and they all leaked. The site is in an aquifer. Do you really wish to risk pollution of a water source in the river? There is more I could say, but in essence, if you're minded to approve the main retail store, so be it. But please refuse the filling station. It's not necessary for the public, Costco's profitability or jobs, and most certainly not for the well-being of all local neighbours. Finally, should you be minded to approve any of the proposal, please seek some amelioration for locals. A crossing to link the foot and cycle path across the business park with the next section on the other side of Yarmouth Road. The cycle path is on the other side of Yarmouth Road to the business park. A reduced speed limit from Yarmouth Road roundabout towards the city, 30, not 40, and the construction hours to weekdays 9 to 5, so we're not disturbed by the horrendous noise 7 days a week, as happened with a new building on Peachman Way that was 7:30 a.m. to 8 p.m, even at the weekends. In essence, please refuse the filling station. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Driscoll. Does the committee have any questions? Yes, Peter.
Thank you, Mr Driscoll. Very eloquently put. I'm assuming that you're a car driver. I am. Yeah. What is the current situation of coming out of where you live, which I presume is Boundary Lane? And do you find it particularly erroneous to try and get out there at the moment?
At peak times, it is next to impossible to the extent if I want to turn right, it is easier to turn left and go to the next roundabout and come back on myself. It is extremely difficult. The phasing of lights, delays held with trucks trying to get underneath the bridge by St Andrews Park, just means that as soon as one side's clear, the other side is full of traffic. It can take a very long time to get out.
Thank you, Mr Driscoll. If you'd like to return to your seat, please. I've got James Cheesemore and Sally Miles next, please. If you'd like to come to the front. Again, you have 5 minutes each. Who's going to start?
I'll start.
You start, okay.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is James Cheesemore and I'm the Real Estate Director for Europe for Costco Wholesale. I'm pleased to address the Planning Committee this morning in relation to our application proposal for a new Costco Wholesale Membership Warehouse Club and complementary petrol filling station at Broadland's Business Park. Costco thank officers of Broadland District Council for their support and proactive approach to bringing this application to determination. We welcome the case officer's recommendation for approval of this application, which will help to deliver substantial investment into the local economy and secure the development of a long-standing but undeveloped site. Costco do not have a warehouse covering the Norfolk and North Suffolk area. The nearest locations are in Stevenage in Hertfordshire and Thurrock in Essex, meaning that Costco members who are currently based in the Norwich area are currently having to travel a significant distance to access Costco services. Costco are excited to find an opportunity to develop a new warehouse club in this location, which will be able to bring Costco's unique offer within much closer reach of a wide range of existing and new members. To explain Costco's business model to the committee, Costco Wholesale is a membership-based warehouse club aimed at supporting small to medium-sized businesses by providing the highest quality products at the lowest possible price. Costco is not open to the public. Membership is restricted to businesses and limited to individuals who fall within specified employment groups. Costco was created to serve the needs of small business owners who are typically forced to pay a premium for small purchases from traditional wholesale distributors and who cannot otherwise obtain their full range of product needs for resale or use within their businesses from a single source. Costco was the first warehouse club operator to open an outlet in the UK and now has 29 locations throughout the UK. It remains the only warehouse club operator in the UK. At Costco, businesses can purchase products at wholesale prices which are significantly lower than those of traditional sources of distribution. Each warehouse sells a wide range of products which allows businesses to obtain all of their products under one roof. This enables Costco to serve a wide range of businesses, much more than typical wholesalers, providing a core range of products at low prices, For example, retail outlets, restaurants, hotels, bed and breakfasts, offices and the construction sector. Access to lower priced goods by businesses in these sectors enable them to become more price competitive, in turn benefiting the town centres and local economies in which they operate. Costco wholesale warehouses and petrol filling stations have been considered acceptable on allocated employment land by many local authorities and planning inspectors, due to the warehouse function supporting a large number of local businesses, while also having regard to the wide range and number of high-quality jobs provided. Costco typically has 180 employees at opening, which rises to 250 employees within 3 years as the business matures. This location will provide a wide range of both skilled and unskilled positions, for example, cashiers, bakers, butchers, forklift truck drivers, supervisors and managers. The aim of the business is to provide careers and not just jobs, and we offer competitive salary packages and benefits and training opportunities. Costco do not use zero-hour contracts. Over 53% of the jobs are full-time, with part-time jobs offering a minimum of 24 hours a week, thereby offering job security. Costco has an excellent track record of hiring locally and promoting from within. Indeed, 90% of UK management started in hourly paid positions. Costco are keen to work with the local authority and stakeholders to target local recruitment and to address specific local employment needs. We have done this kind of initiative in many locations within the UK, working with local stakeholders and local authorities. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to the committee on behalf of Costco. I will now hand over to Sally Miles, who's Costco's long-standing planning consultant.
As James said, I'm Sally Miles. I'm the planning consultant who coordinated and submitted this planning application. Costco sought to work collaboratively with the local authority to ensure that a thorough application was submitted to enable the application to be fully assessed. Costco undertook pre-application meetings and submissions with the local authority, the Environment Agency, Anglian Water and the County Highways Authority to scope the assessments and agree what need to be submitted. In addition, public consultation was undertaken. The majority of comments were supportive of the proposals. Nevertheless, Costco acknowledged the concerns raised by objectors and have sought to address these within the application documentation submitted. Costco employed a full range of specialists to develop a high-quality proposal, and the application is accompanied by a comprehensive set of technical assessments. Whilst Costco is a sui generis use that has been considered acceptable employment land, a full retail assessment was submitted that explains that Costco is aimed at supplying the trade sector. It demonstrates that Costco draws a small element of trade and turnover from a very wide range of shops over a wide catchment area. Therefore, it does not result in any harmful impact on any one operator or centre. Indeed, Costco supports many retailers and businesses such as hotels and therefore can help strengthen an economy. A detailed assessment of the highways network during weekday peak hours and on Saturday afternoons was also submitted. The scope of this assessment was agreed with officers during pre-application discussions. This assessment showed that there would not be any material effect on the operation of the surrounding road network. The proposals include the provision of a new footway cycleway facility to link between existing facilities in the area, the provision of electrical vehicle charging spaces and cycle spaces together with a travel plan. Both Norfolk Council and National Highways have reviewed the assessments and are supportive of the proposals. Detailed contamination and risk assessments were prepared. These demonstrate that the petrol filling station is designed to the highest standard, including comprehensive protection measures to ensure that there is no risk of fuel leakage. The proposals also include a vapour recovery system to prevent any odours at this location. This assessment and the proposed protection measures have been reviewed by the Environment Agency, who are satisfied with the proposals. Additional assessments covering noise, flooding, air quality, ecology, design and landscaping have also been submitted. These have been assessed and statutory consultees who are satisfied that the proposals are appropriate, subject to appropriate conditions and final clarifications with the LLFA. In conclusion, it is considered that a Costco warehouse and petrol filling station at this location will complement the mix of uses in this area and provide beneficial facilities. Overall, the proposals will enable the development of a long-standing allocated site. It will deliver a high-quality development, including a well-designed landscaping scheme, which will complement this area. It will provide beneficial services to local businesses. It will also create up to 250 direct jobs and further indirect jobs and jobs during the construction period. We welcome the officer's recommendation and hope that you will support the proposals. We're happy to address any questions that may arise, and we also have our traffic consultants in attendance in the event that you wanted to clarify any of the highways points that you'd raised. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I have one question. How do you limit your membership? I presume it's just for businesses, you said? So the general public can't get access to...
You have to be a registered business, or you have to qualify in certain employment groups, and you have to provide evidence that you're in those employment groups to become a member. And you cannot join Costco without that.
Okay, so it's not just open to the general public?
No.
Okay. Anybody else? Peter? Yeah.
Oh,
sorry.
Thanks for your submission. It's very interesting to hear. Regarding the petrol filling station, would people have to be members to be able to use it? That's my first point. Also, your constructions, if you did get the go-ahead for both sites, which would go first? And also, which would you do, petrol station or the warehouse? And also, how long do you think the construction period would be, please? Thank you.
Thank you. To answer your first question, yes, you have to become a member to use a Costco petrol station. The way the petrol station works effectively is when you get there, you have to scan your membership card, and then you fill the petrol and pay using a card. But you have to be a member to use that. That's the first question. To answer your second question about construction, we would look to construct both open at the same time. The petrol station would be much quicker. That would typically take, I would imagine, 4 months. And then the building would probably take between 9 and 10 months to build. Subject, obviously, so we've got some highway works to do, subject to approval and of highway works, etc.
Bill?
Yeah, you said that Costco is a member organisation for businesses. All I can say is I was offered a Costco membership when I bought a new car. That, to me, isn't me being a business.
No, from Costco's members' point of view, you have to be a business or you have to be part of a specific employment group. I'm not sure of the exact scenario, Councillor, but you would need to provide evidence that you're either in one of those employee groups or you own or run your own business. The way the business works effectively, we want the majority of our trade to be from businesses because they're the people that buy high volume. The way this was established was we call them individual members, so if you qualify under these employment groups, that's almost a top-up for the business, and that membership fee you have to pay then enables us to lower the prices for everybody, but primarily for the business members because they're the ones that buy the volume and make the business work.
If you are a business, then basically when you go to the petrol filling station, you're only going to get business people going there, so it's not open to the general public.
If you're a qualified member, so a business member, or you qualify as one of our employee individual members, you can use the gap at the petrol station. But if you're not, and you don't qualify and you're not a member, you will not be able to use the petrol filling station.
Membership at the moment, numbers? Roughly.
In terms of what? In terms of...
Number of members who might potentially be using this petrol station.
It's hard to say at this moment in time because until you've opened in a new market, it's hard to say how many members we will get. What I can tell you at the moment, considering that we have our warehouse clubs in Stevenage and in Thurrock, we have 3,000 people, members who currently travel from the immediate vicinity of here for the 45-minute drive time of Broadlands to go down to those locations. So we're opening here because we think we can we can develop a membership base. And key to this market for us as well is the amount of independent businesses in the market, not just in Norwich and Broadlands, but also in the coastal towns as well. So it's hard to say, and answer your question, what the membership will be, but we do feel there is a good opportunity for independent businesses in this market because of the kind of economy that's located here, particularly the tourist economy.
Thank you. And I assume...
Absolutely, we have the exact numbers. We have 10% of our parking spaces will be have electric vehicle charging, and 20%, a further 20% will have the infrastructure under the ground ready for the future to install as and when.
Thank you, Chair.
Right, thank you. Paul, yes.
Thank you, Chair. Can you just take us through how many cars we're looking at in terms of, you've got a traffic guy here, what have you modelled in terms of the number of vehicles in and out each day, roughly? What are we likely to expect? And what is the worst case scenario that we're expecting in terms of hold-ups at that roundabout, worst case?
If you wouldn't mind, if I can defer to Ian Dix of SLR, who's our highways consultant, who can give you the technical details.
That's better. It's come on now. To answer your question, in terms of when we look at the traffic generation, we look at the hourly flows. So we've looked at the weekday sort of peak periods, which are 8 to 9 in the morning and 5 to 6. And then we also look at Saturday, because Costco is busier on a Saturday in terms of people using it. So that's sort of like Saturday afternoon, just after lunch. The warehouse itself doesn't open till 10. So in the morning peak hour, it has, very limited. You have some staff arriving, so it's about, between 10 and 20 people arriving. In the evening peak, you've got about 580 movements split roughly in and out, and then on a Saturday that rises to about 800, so you have 400 in and out. And then also we've got people who just go to the petrol station. But a lot of those people, you've got to be honest, are driving past and things like that because people are buying petrol already, and people don't tend to go too much out of their way to buy petrol. They don't make too much of a specific trip. So we have got, we've taken account of that as well. And I think there was a question earlier on about how far do we look, and James has already mentioned it, that we looked at a 45-minute drive time, which takes in a lot of the coast, goes down south of Diss and places like that, to actually say where people are going to come from to go to the site. In terms of the capacity of the roundabouts, I'll be honest, off the top of my head, I can't tell you what the delays and things like that are, but we did look in detail at the roundabouts, particularly the access roundabout, and I think it's pronounced Posick, if I get it right. So I did listen. We looked at both the roundabouts there, and we weren't seeing any, real capacity issues. Particularly the 5-1 roundabout and Posick, they were designed for this site to come forward, because obviously when they were planned, this is part of the business site and a site to come forward, so they will accommodate the traffic. It's not to say there won't be any peak period congestion, because I think there always is wherever we go, but we weren't seeing any serious issues, which is why Norfolk didn't have any issues with it. And then we also looked at the impact on the A47 interchange, and National Highways came straight back and said they'd got no concerns. We weren't going to have a material impact there. We're not going to change how that operates now.
Okay, thank you. So any further questions for the speakers? No? Okay, we'd like to return to your seats, please. Eleanor, you know the procedure, don't you?
Thank you for allowing me to speak on this application. This plan has undergone 7 amendments, but I still object to it overall. It has to be noted that the Parish Council has raised several objections, and so have nearby residents. A Parish Council member was going to speak at the committee, but unfortunately it was too late getting the request submitted in time. I made initial comments on the plans, and these concerns still remain. The design and size of the building will not add to the visual amenity of the area, which is a major gateway from the east into Norwich. In terms of retail, Gold Star membership of Costco is open to current or retired employees of quite a range of employment groups or professions, so it is, in my view, a retail outlet which is open to nearly all members of the public and not just businesses. It will therefore have an impact on surrounding retail businesses in the area, including those in the city. The petrol filling station will be automated, so in itself it will not provide any employment opportunities. This development could lead to surface water flooding south of the sites. On both sites there will be a substantial covered area of hard standing, and the land on both sites slopes from north to south. In times of heavy rainfall, which will become increasingly common, this could contribute to surface water runoff onto Yarmouth Road, which is a major route into Norwich and the surrounding area. I still have concerns as to whether the drainage system proposed will actually be adequate. There are residential properties on Boundary Lane, which is south of Yarmouth Road, opposite the proposed filling station site, which could potentially be affected. The road surface on Boundary Lane was washed away in heavy rain in October 2019. There is no need for a new 12-pump petrol filling station in this area. We should be looking and using more sustainable modes of transport and reducing carbon emissions. The proposed site, particularly for the filling station, is environmentally sensitive with respect to groundwater resources and underlying aquifers. There is a potential risk of groundwater contamination, particularly if underground pipework or tanks were damaged or as they age and deteriorate. In reality, this will be another car-dependent development which will have a substantial impact on the local highway network, with vehicles who visit both sites having to use the Chapel Way roundabout twice. There will be over 600 parking spaces, which illustrates to me the level of car use expected. There are cycle and footway networks both north and south of Yarmouth Road, but there are no controlled crossings on Yarmouth Road in the region where Boundary Road meets Yarmouth Road or west of the old Chapel Way roundabout. It can already be difficult to cross at these points when walking or wheeling due to the volume and the speed of the traffic. The speed limit at this point is 40 miles an hour. I think the inevitable increase in traffic from this development will pose a risk to these road users and will lead to increased air pollution in the area. This traffic increase must also be considered in addition to the traffic from other new residential developments planned in Posick and also the business parks once they're fully occupied. At the moment, when there is a traffic issue on the A47 or Yarmouth Road, it often leads to gridlock, which makes it very difficult for residents from Posick to either enter or leave the area. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for Eleanor? Yes, Peter.
Thank you, Eleanor, for your statement. What is your opinion if we were to grant permission for the warehouse and the tyre depot, but not for the petrol filling station, please?
Well, I think that would be a better solution overall, certainly in terms of the residents of Boundary Lane and also for environmental reasons, but I'm not sure whether that would be possible as this application has been submitted as an application for those sites and not separate applications.
No? Hello? Thank you. We go to general discussion. Who would like to kick off? Okay.
I think it's a very balanced proposal, but I think that there is I thought the presentation about the purpose and the effect and the benefits of the business in that site, it brings me to the balance that, subject to the 31 conditions there, which I think has covered most of the points that were raised, I'm inclined to the view to support it.
I think also we need to approve, it says here, to approve of the conditions subject to matters relating to flood risk and drainage being satisfactorily resolved.
Yes.
So as long as they are satisfactorily resolved, I am minded to approve as well. Anybody else would like to speak?
Go on, Paul.
Thank you, Chair. I mean, I too have listened to all the arguments, and I think, you know, as usual, the planning department here has covered, you know, it's pretty comprehensive. I think we've covered all of the concerns that people might have. You know, if they're saying that at the maximum we've got 400 people in, 400 people out each day, that's nowhere near what you would get in a retail, you know, in a Sainsbury's or something like that. So, I mean, you know, that satisfies me that actually, and especially it's not even open in rush hour, which also is quite would be a, you know, a factor. I think if that's closed at that point, then I can't really see it having too much of an impact. And yeah, 400 cars in isn't a huge amount, I don't think, in the big scheme of things. I like the fact that there's EV chargers. They've, you know, got capacity for more. There is quite a comprehensive list of conditions attached to this. So I think pretty much all the bases are covered, and those have all got to be satisfied during the build and you know, to the plan department's satisfaction. So I'm minded to support it as well.
Vivian. Yeah.
I think as the Norwich is growing, we need more supermarket like Costco and all. My perspective, I think they are supporting our local business as well. So I like to support the officer's recommendation. Thank you.
Are you happy if we go to the vote? Yes, Peter.
Thank you. Yeah, just a couple of observations, please. We already have the macro site up there, and I know this is meant to be the Broadland Business Park, but I think we can designate that times have changed and people will be using it more as a retail business park as such. My concerns are with the amount of excess traffic that is going to affect people who live on Boundary Lane particularly. I also wonder, is there really a need for an additional petrol filling station? We've got one at Brundle, at the roundabout there. I believe that's still there, isn't it? And there's at least 2 in Thorpe St Andrew, and there's several within at least 5-10 minutes striking distance of the area. I also wonder whether people are going to drive on, we'll see a sign for petrol filling station, come in, realise it's members only, and then go out again. Is that going to be unnecessary traffic movements? So I'm very disappointed that the petrol filling station and the main warehouse have been submitted as one application. I think it really should have been, to my mind, it should have been handled as 2. I think this is 2 separate standalone submissions. So I'm undecided at the moment. I do support the warehouse, but I'm quite against having another petrol station.
I must say I slightly agree with you there. I would have preferred this to be 2 applications coming forward, but we have 1 application, and we have to decide on that application. Yeah. Ben, do you want to say anything?
No, you said it all. Thank you, Chair. We've got one application with two parts to it, and we should be considering it in its entirety.
Thank you, Chair. The only thing I was concerned about was that it's supposed to be a business plan, and the chap who spoke on the highways said that Saturday is the busiest time. Well, businessmen could go any time of the week. Why? It sounds more like the public are actually turning up on the weekend.
I know this is not a planning consideration, but I would hope Costco would be a bit stricter on who they give their tickets to. Yeah, not just the general public, but if it's for trade, then it's for trade. That's only my point of view. Anybody else? No? Can we go to the vote? Yeah. All those in favour of this application, please raise your hand.
Sorry, Sorry, I meant to jump in. Just to say there is a slight update to the recommendation in the update sheet. So it's still the same, but there is the addition now of, so it's the recommendation to be amended, so the authorisation to approve is also subject to a Section 106 agreement to secure monitoring fee, a monitoring fee for the travel plan, and also in regard to restricting the use to that applied for. So what I'd say is that you've got the recommendation, which is in the main papers, but it would also be subject to the updates in the update sheet as well.
Thank you. Forgot about that.
Okay, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand.
That's 5, Chair.
Against? Thank you. That's been carried. Thank you very much. Do we wish to have a 5-minute break?
Please. Yes, please.
Yeah.